everyone. Welcome back to Live, Laugh, Loans. I'm Myra Talley.
I'm Shelly Panzarella.
And this is episode number 6.
6! Yay!
All right, so let's get right into it. Let's start with our rates. Our rates did increase a little bit.
What?
We're about at 6% right now is what our average interest rate. And that kind of had a little bit to do with the meeting that Jerome Powell had regarding the rates.
Yeah, on Friday. So he spoke at, they call it the Jackson Hole event, which I'm assuming is at Jackson Hole. And ultimately...
Is it really a hole?
I don't know. Have you ever been out there?
Never.
We're getting sidetracked. I haven't either. Actually, I've heard it's a really nice place to be. So he basically mentioned that he feels like that they do need to continue to raise the interest rates, the Fed fund rates, in order for us to curb inflation, even though we've seen a little bit of a dip in inflation.
He says it's not enough just quite yet.
Right.
And he's probably projecting possibly another 2 increases throughout the rest of this year. One of them is going to be possibly next month, September. Is it?
End of September.
End of
21st.
September. And then another one sometime in November.
That's right. Yeah. And I think that's the reason why there was a lot of panic in the market, just because, for so many people, they thought, okay, one more rate increase. And he could have just said one more rate increase and I think everything would have been fine. But because he said potential of 2, that's really what spurred up the pandemonia, so to speak, because that's when we got our rate increase, right?
Correct.
We were doing really good at 5.75.
Right.
5.5 we even saw. We had a couple who actually could pay down the rate into the 4s, which were probably into the 4 like 5s, even with 2 points, right? To buy down.
Right.
Yeah. But either way, still good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think, and again, marry the home,
Date the rate.
date the interest rate. So that leads us into this article that I pulled up that talks about what would happen as we head into the recession, because I think that's the biggest concern is inflation versus recession, right? And so something that we're going to put up on the screen is going to be really what happens in a recession, or what has happened historically speaking in a recession. And
Kind of interesting.
I thought, yeah, because everybody only thinks of the recession as the housing crisis.
Yeah.
Right. The housing
the
crisis.
2008 housing crisis.
Right. Yeah.
No other one.
That's right. That's it. Right. But there were, in this example, there were 6 I don't know. Yeah, my lifetime. What were you for?
Let's just say about 5.
Yeah, 5 for Myra, 6 for Shelly. Clearly, you could tell the age difference there between us. But in that 5 or 6, there were 2. Obviously, the major one being 2008 with the housing crisis, which also was a recession. But with that, the one thing that I think is very eye-opening is during that time, home prices didn't fall. Right? And everybody feels like if we go in a recession, the home prices are going to fall during this time. You hear about we were talking about it, housing crisis, housing crash, that we're going to see a repeat of that. What did fall was
interest rates.
Right. So during that same period, when they looked at that same period of time, they saw that interest rates actually dipped inside of a recession. So whether we're going to go, and the argument is, are we in a recession today, or are we going to go into a recession? The likelihood of us seeing rates dip is pretty high, just based off of historical data, right? And the likelihood of sales prices dropping based on historical data would be that it's unlikely.
Correct.
Right? What do you think about that?
I think that's accurate. I think our housing inventory, although we are getting we're seeing a little more inventory now, there's still a high demand for buyers. But I feel right now they're just testing the water, and they're unsure. It's almost like FOMO. Do we get the house now? Is there going to be a crisis? Am I going to be upside? There's so much fear around it that we're seeing a lot of iffy.
They're questioning them, the market. Well, and I think that goes back to, and I hate to keep throwing this statement out there, is marry the house, date the rate. At the end of the day, if you fall in love with the home and today you can qualify for that payment, we will make sure that you qualify for that payment. If it's comfortable for you today.
Keyword comfortable.
Right. Oh, for 100%. If you're comfortable with that payment and we happen to dip into a recession and rates happen to go down, then you would have an opportunity to refinance. But if you know that rates are going, or sales prices are going to go up, right? Even though based off of today, sales prices are going to continue to go up, and the rates dip, then are you still ahead? You know what I mean? And really, it's, how can you ever time the market?
You can't.
No.
We can all try, but it's impossible to try in time.
Yeah. And we were just having this conversation about, client, or right now people are a little skittish about the market and moving forward because people are hearing the news that sales prices are dropping, right? But really it's sellers who are listing their house.
Exactly. It's not dropping. It's just cooling off.
Right. Yeah.
So we still have our sellers who are listing their homes today. And of course, as if I was selling my home, I would want to get the highest price possible. So you're going to list as high as you can and kind of slowly inch down from there. And that's what's happening today. People are still expecting to sell for what prices did, 6 months, a year ago. But now it's just an average market where it's cooling down and you're not going to see as many offers over list price.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything over list price, but it's also, I'm seeing homes that are priced right go into contract, right? Because we've had some clients that are like, oh, this house just got on the market, listed, they put in an offer and they get the contract accepted. Yes. So a lot of the stuff that you're hearing where you hear the price decreases, I think is in those exact examples where you have a seller who is like probably a little FOMO also, right? Because they wish they had listed their house 3 months ago or 6 months ago, and could have commanded whatever dollar amount they wanted on that home. And maybe now they're not able to, but they're still in that time zone when
But it goes both ways. So they didn't want to do it before because they weren't going to find something that they were willing to move into without having to pay over. Now they see the opportunity that the buyers have today with the market shifting. And so now they're trying to list, but still have the mentality that they can sell for that high price.
Right.
And then that's when realization comes in and the price, cools off.
Yeah. And speaking to that too, I think as a seller now, because that was one of the main reasons why a lot of sellers were not willing to sell their home. They didn't have any other place to go. Exactly. Right now, with the inventory opening up a little bit, they as a seller have an opportunity to also sell their home and find another home in the market. All right, so to shift gears, we'll talk a little bit about great news about the student loans. Yeah, President Biden actually announced that he is going to be giving some relief to our student loans,
yes.
Buyers who have student loans or people who have student loans.
Yes, he said they would give up to $10,000 for anybody whose income is in the range of $125,000 for individuals, and if they are married couples, up to $250,000 annually that they could make.
Yeah, and that's it. And then also the Pell Grant, right?
Correct.
So you would get $20,000 forgiven on your Pell Grant. Same criteria for income as well, right? $125,000
Correct. Well, I think for the Pell Grant, in order to receive it, you have to be within a certain income criteria.
Okay, to receive it.
Yeah.
And so I think one great news is it's actually like right around the corner. So we're starting September, right? It's going to open up in October.
Correct.
For applications. And then the processing and everything is supposed to take about 4 to 6 weeks. So,
right.
And
I did read that you probably may not even have to submit any type of income documentation just because they have all of the FAFSA applications. They have millions of applications on hand that they have access to income, so they'll know exactly who's going to qualify for this.
Wow.
You still want to sign up to get it, but you may not have to submit any documentation for that.
Yeah, so this has been something that a lot of people have been waiting for. I know I've had some clients like, well, kind of waiting to figure out what's going to happen with the student forgiveness because that could help me qualify more for a home, which it can.
Correct.
Right, because this could help clients. What do you think it's going to help them lift their purchasing power by?
It will increase a lot. One, it'll be wiped away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then two, they're also going to restructure the way that the repayment program works.
Right.
So right now they have different programs available, but the lowest program is 10% of your disposable income.
Yep.
And they're going to reduce that down to just 5%.
Yeah, so that will almost cut the monthly payments in half. So imagine this being a buyer today where we've qualified you. We have to use 0.5% to 1% depending on what loan program of the loan balance. So you're going to get, let's say, up to $10,000 completely forgiven. And then if you do go into an income-based repayment, we can actually use whatever that new amount is. Right. And we have an example, which we'll show on the screen, that the new income-based repayment, as an example, would go to $31 versus what it was prior, which was $147. So that's a huge savings, right? And then if you take that, so it's what, $116, if I'm not mistaken, difference in payment, that actually would equate to almost, what, $30,000 in a qualifying purchasing power.
Right. So if you qualify for 300, you could qualify for up to 330,000.
Right. Which is great. I think it's going to be, that'll open, and that was one of the main reasons they were looking to help do this, is because student debt. I mean, I saw a stat in here, $1.6 trillion and rising for 45 million borrowers. Wow. And most of them, not necessarily millennials, but most of those who are coming out of college are ready to buy a home, right? And this is one thing that's holding them back. Correct. So hopefully this will open up the doors for them.
Yeah. And the other thing that it was also open, if parents paid for any of their kids' student loan, it will also cover that for the parents. So whoever applies can take advantage of that.
That's great. So they're not looking at the parents' income limits. They're just looking at the students, even though the parents had actually helped them to qualify for the mortgage or for the student loan.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So speaking about opening doors, so we're going to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act, which I actually, as I read through this, was pretty excited because I'm still renovating my home, which we bought last year, and we haven't quite moved into it. But some of the great things that are going to happen that I saw in here that I can take advantage of, there's 13 tax breaks, and know that there's already been some energy efficient tax breaks today, right? I think there was something for the pool. That was a big deal. Like if you got a pool cleaner or something like that. But this will actually open it up for energy efficient appliances. So for energy efficient appliances, that's going to open that up where like you can get $840 for getting a energy efficient stovetop or stove, cooktop, range, and oven, $1,750 for a heat water pump. What was exciting for me, because we just completely redid all of the electrical in our home, so you can get up to $2,500 in electrical wiring and then $1,600 for insulation. Plus, when I was looking at this, the prior tax credit for windows was up to $500. Now, I just went in and purchased all new windows for this home, and it was in the tens of thousands of dollars. And so I could imagine, like, okay, $500 is like
the tax.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, right. So they're actually going to allow you to take a percentage of what you have spent on it up to, I think it went up to $1,500 for annual limit in order as a tax credit, which is still great.
And that's the thing too, right? It's now an annual limit as opposed to just a lifetime.
Correct. Yeah. So if you've done it once, then that's pretty much it. Or even in your renovation. So it's now categorized where it's windows. It's not like, okay, you only have $500 for all renovations.
Right.
So this is great news, and this is actually in effect for those of us who are, or for the 2022. They've also extended the energy efficiency credits, and of course the big one being for the electrical cars and things like that. Which when I first bought the Tesla, like 8 years ago, that was a huge thing, $7,500 as a tax credit incentive. Are you going to be able to get that also for this year?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
But they're rolling it out for the newer. It's because Tesla's already gotten there established as an EV.
It had something to do with the size or the certain vehicles that don't qualify for it.
Got it. But they're going to extend that either way for the newer vehicles that are coming on the line. Is that what they call it now?
So
production.
Many.
I know. Yeah, one of our other loan officers, he's picking up a Chevy Bolt.
Really?
Yeah, which he said was like $25,000 for an electrical vehicle.
Now imagine the savings on that.
Seriously, well, he in his mind, he's like, that is the cost less than the price of gas.
Yes.
You know, for me, I was like, well, it'll curb into the amount I pay for gas, you know, and be okay with the payment. But yeah, they're all over. They got the Ford. They've got trucks that are coming out. Yes. Rich is looking for the Ford F-150 Lightning. Yeah. That'll be coming out.
I saw they have one that's going to be like a Toyota Corolla, like equivalent
car or
electric, and that is a very
that already is an economical,
right? That already is, and then it's a good price point, electric. So it's, game changer. Even California, I saw that they just announced. I can't remember at the top of my head, but it was maybe 7 years from now that all vehicles have to be electric.
Wow. I don't know that I could go back. I mean, you guys have an electric car in your family now. You have both. Well, we have both, dude.
We have a gas guzzler and an electric.
Yeah. And how do you feel like do you think that your husband will ever go back and get a gas powered car?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Only he goes back and forth on a lot of things. I think for him, for his job, it's more so size-wise of the vehicle. They don't quite have anything large SUV capacity
yet
that he needs.
Yeah.
But other than that, if it had nothing to do with the size of the vehicle he needed for work, he would definitely never go back.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, their first instinct is like it's a pain in the butt to have to figure out when, the timing around, when to plug it in, charge and all this stuff. Have you guys run into that at all?
No.
Yeah.
Besides our electricity bill going through the roof, but it wasn't because of the vehicle. It was just there's certain charging hours.
Yeah.
And there's a peak hours, but same thing. If you were to go to like a Tesla quick charge, they have different pricing for different hours of the day. Oh. So at one point he was charging right in the middle of the day, and that's like the highest peak. So 1 month our power bill was like $800.
Wow. So you definitely need to charge during the non-peak hours. Correct. Which is what, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock to 6 or 7 a.m. Something
yeah.
like that.
And then it charges overnight pretty much, right? So by the time you wake up, it's pretty much ready to go. Well, that's exciting. So your car is due in...
Hopefully anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. So we'll see.
And then you'll be fully electric.
Yes.
You'll be a fully electric family. That's exciting.
Even my daughter told me, she's 10 or 9, sorry. She's like, I think when I grow up, she's like, I think I want an electric vehicle.
Yes.
They go really fast.
Oh, wow. She's a speed demon.
No.
That's funny. It would be Sophia that would say that. What about Christina, who's supposed to be getting there to drive?
She wants possibly a Tesla also.
Nice.
It has to be cute so she could put eyelashes.
Oh my.
on the headlights.
Oh, that's so cute. That's what Sydney wanted to do too. Now that she has her car, I'm like, you want the headlights and all that stuff? She's like, no. She can't bring that to school.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all about being popular. All right, so let's talk about I got this postcard in the mail. I'm sure everybody did because I saw multiple copies of this. The Lake Mead water supply update, because effective September 1st, there's going to be a change here in Las Vegas, Clark County.
And that's with pool sizes. So you can no longer build anything that is larger than 600 square feet.
Yeah.
And you were saying that's equivalent to
a 3-car garage, which seems pretty big, right? But then when you're like, yeah, but what about the spa? Because it would include pool and spa.
Correct. It does.
Right?
It's inclusive for both.
Yeah, I thought this was actually interesting. So did you know that Las Vegas has 200,000 residents who have pools? Wow. Just residential pools. So there's 2.4 million people. And so we've got 200,000 homes. Now, 200,000 pools in Las Vegas. So the reason they're doing this obviously is because the shortage
of water.
Yeah, with Lake Mead.
Those pictures are pretty bad.
Yeah, we're going to show you the difference. And what's funny is I remember as a kid going in there and just looking at where the water level was based on, those like the 3 little pylons or whatever you call them, and you couldn't see them. And now to look at it today and you can see the whole the whole thing, right?
And it started slow. Then you just saw like a little white, and then the white part just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Although they did say the last couple of rainfalls that we've had in Las Vegas has actually helped to lift it. I mean, not that it's going to lift it all the way to the top. Yeah. So new news on the horizon is beginning September 1st. It is going to be that we are limited to 600 square feet, and that is for every resident. So even our multi-mansions, the big Summit Hill, Anthem, Sky, all of the pools are now going to have to be the size of your 3-car garage.
Right.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting also. The average square foot here in Las Vegas for pools was 470 square feet.
So already lower than.
Yeah. But now that you've got these bigger homes
that you have restrictions, you're going to want.
Of course.
700 square feet.
601, actually. Well, and what's funny is I was like, well, what happens? What are they going to do? Come and pull the pool out of, but you can't get permits. They're going to hold the permits back, but there's also a penalty. So the penalty would be denial of water service.
Oh, wow.
So how would you go get your water?
Take a shower.
I guess that's what you thought. I was like, how do you fill the pool if you build it?
But I mean, I've had a lot of questions of people say, should I even move to Nevada, Las Vegas, because there's a water shortage? We don't, although we are experiencing this shortage of water in Lake Mead, we are good to go as far as with our water. They're just putting these restrictions into place to prevent there being a shortage. They're getting ahead of that now so that we don't become in a situation where we are short of water.
Yeah, so they said by doing this, it saves 3.2 million gallons of water a year. So that would basically ultimately mean that would save us 32 million. We'd have 32 million, is that right, gallons of water by 2032, which could help to, which would definitely help to alleviate the issue.
And as Nevada, we are top in conserving water, correct?
We are, yeah, of the states that are pillaging from Lake Mead, yeah.
So they're starting, I heard that they're starting to be a little bit more stricter on the outer states that get
are
the
using
water
it
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see, that they're doing what they're supposed to.
Yeah, it would be great to see Lake Mead back, but I think at the end of the day, even if we figure out how to just conserve our water and make, the biggest deal is like what would ever happen to Vegas if we dried up? Could you imagine?
Put a casino there, duh.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that was all that's all the articles that we had today. We've got football season starting.
Yes.
Yeah, next week. Got Labor Day coming up. Any big Labor Day plans or labor list plans?
Exactly. Yeah, just relax. The kids have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
Sophia has a 4-day weekend.
Oh, she's off on Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, so just, lay low.
Enjoy. We're
Stay
going through.
indoors.
Yeah, I was going to say heat wave, right?
Yes.
Is it for what, this week or?
I think so. It's like for the next 10 days. It's supposed to cool down, I believe, starting next week. But when we say cool down, we really mean like 102.
And it's been humid,
Yeah.
right? It's been humid because we've had a lot of rainfall, which is, I guess, helping Lake Mead. But with that, well, enjoy the Labor Day weekend, and then we launch into NFL preseason or season, not even preseason,
Yeah, can't
NFL.
wait.
Yes. All right. Well, let's wrap it up.
All right.
Okay. All right. She's like, wait, I started, you close, Shelly.
I'm used to you closing.
I should be. I was like, wait, that's me. Okay. And all right. Well, with that, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned to our next episodes, and make sure you like, subscribe, and click that notification button so you can check out all of our upcoming videos. On that, we'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye.